Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Again, quick apologies if I sound a little bit off today. Still working on getting over this cold. That said, I do hope you and your family are well. I feel like I almost see everyone is sick right now on my timeline right now, so hopefully you're doing okay. But of course, we just saw a major update go live last week for Black Ops 6 and Warzone back on the 3rd with a couple of bug fixes, obviously the whole Squid Game update and everything. There's been a lot still, wonky and messed up in game, and that update unfortunately caused some new issues and definitely did not address some major ones. But that said, over the weekend, over the past few days, Call of Duty has put out a couple of new updates to either address some things that major update actually broke, or just adjust some things and say, heads up, we're looking into this. So quite a few things to cover, including a couple of topics that I cannot believe in my near 13 years of doing Call of Duty news and covering this game that I am actually talking about. But that said, first up here, we got a bunch of new posts from Call of Duty updates. So they say within Warzone, the most recent update actually briefly re-enabled live pings in ranked play. You may recall that a few days back they actually completely disabled live pings in ranked play because players were just like wall banging players way too much. You get a hard ping on somebody, they'd run behind a wall or a window or something, and because everything on Urzik is made of paper mache, you could just shoot right through it and still deal damage. Unfortunately, that kind of just makes cheaters even more powerful there when they have wall hacks and aimbots already. But nonetheless, live pings actually briefly came back with that major update. It re-enabled them on accident, but they did go through and they disabled those relatively quickly. There was also a pretty big issue that happened when this update went out last week, where at the end of ranked play matches or even just some standard public matches, you would then freeze at the very end of the winner's circle and it just kind of starts spectating you like under the map or something super weird, and that was causing you to lose SR in ranked play because you'd have to disconnect, or you'd basically just have to quit out of your game to reboot it to get out of the match in multiplayer. Pretty frustrating, pretty annoying bug to run into, right? Luckily, that one has also been updated. They say that issue's been fixed. This was just obviously, like I said, from over the weekend. So by now, you've definitely restarted your game, I would assume. So everyone should have that fixed and you won't be running into that one anymore. Definitely glad that they fixed that one pretty quick, because that was quite literally like making ranked unplayable and making pubs extremely frustrating. Another big one here, COD Update says we have actually disabled the signal intelligence contract while we investigate an issue, so you're not going to be able to do any of those in Warzone for the time being. I did notice that this update seemingly also reintroduced constant contract spawns. Essentially, at every single spot a contract could spawn. I was watching some streams, and even when I jumped in, it just seemed like there were almost too many contracts because every single spawn point had one up there. So signal intelligence is one of those you won't find for the moment, but of course this one will be back here in the near future. And of course, as this gets updated, as we see any other new fixes or updates go out, you guys already know this is the best place to be to stay up to date with all the stuff happening in Call of Duty, whether it's good, bad, surprise patch notes, meta changes, whatever the case is. I got you covered, so feel free to hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications to always stay in the know. And if you enjoy this video, a like rating is seriously appreciated as well. It truly does help share the video around to new viewers. Now, a pretty important one that actually takes final effect as of today, I guess you could say. They say across Black Ops 6 and Warzone, events from the Archie's Festival Frenzy have been granted to players now that the event has concluded. Of course, they screwed up that whole event, basically made the whole thing meaningless when they gave a ton of players all the rewards instantaneously because they had thousands of Archies on their account. So then they did say, hey, we screwed up, Archie's been feeling extra generous, and they decided to give out the rewards to everyone when the event ended on January 3rd. So by now you should have all that stuff on your account. They say any remaining reward grants will continue to roll out through Monday, January 6th. So on the 3rd, if you logged on, you didn't see you had the AMR mod 4 unlocked, so you didn't have some of those other event rewards. By today, January 6th, you should have all of these fully unlocked and on your account completely for free, which is pretty cool. So new weapon that everyone automatically gets, and then of course some of the other bonus rewards that the event had as well. Now, as you heard me say in the intro, there's one specific change that I actually can't believe I'm about to say, but COD Updates reports this for Black Ops 6 and Warzone. They are investigating an issue where the preview for the Brightmare bundle's finishing move shows an incorrect animation. What might this finishing move be? Unicorn farts. I'm not joking. This is what it's coming to, folks, in Call of Duty. I'm now reporting on unicorn fart updates coming to the game. And yet, I can't report on them fixing the anti-cheat or them investing in better servers. However, they are investigating an issue where the unicorn fart execution move is not correctly previewed. Call of Duty has to understand how this looks, right? Like, that was a real sentence I just said. I'm not proud that I had to say it. I can't imagine their POV of this, because this is absolutely ridiculous. Nonetheless, it's gonna be updated. Crazy situation. I can't believe that was a real thing I just did. Now, beyond some of the updates and announcements that Call of Duty has talked about over the past couple of days, we also have a new week kicking off where we actually have a lot to look out for here. Really just this week and the next couple of weeks, of course. Unfortunately, season 2 is still a ways away. According to the Battle Pass countdown timer, it's coming out on January 28th, I think, which is kind of a strange day for that to happen, but we're still a few weeks out from that. It's going to be a slow few weeks, I'd have to imagine, unless they are pumping out updates, which seemingly they indicate they are, because you may recall this tweet from Raven from before the holidays where they said, hey, we're looking into a bunch of stuff, and shortly after the holidays we're going to ship many of these improvements. Well, many of these improvements didn't get shipped in that first initial update on January 3rd, right? They did the faster mantle speeds, they did the doors closing while running, but there was no major perk rebalance, combat record fixes. Some people are saying that the lighting and visibility has been updated a little bit on Urzikstan and even on Rebirth a tad bit, but there was no mention of that officially in the patch notes. Audio inconsistencies, some things were updated with parachutes, but there's a lot more than just parachute audio that's an issue. Irregular UAV behavior at times, issues with contracts is actually more problematic now after the update. So like half of their fixes here weren't shipped shortly after the holidays, which would insinuate another update is coming here relatively soon. So we're gonna have to be on the lookout for that. Whether it's a title update, we should know, because PlayStation Game Size will probably get to see that early. If it's just a hotfix update, you guys know I'll be on the lookout for constant patch note updates, any surprise changes there on almost a daily basis. So you'll definitely know when this stuff does change. I'll be sure to keep you guys in the loop, but definitely some larger updates that we can look out for here in the relatively near future. But that's not all for this week either. We also know, thanks to the initial January 3rd patch notes, we do have a new content update happening this week with specifically zombies and the Deadlight Greenlight LTM, which unfortunately seems to have missed the mark. It like forces you to exfil at round 10. It's just kind of like a play it once, you've experienced it type thing, but currently it's only available on Citadel Day More. This is going to be added to Liberty Falls though after week 1, so presumably that'll be happening later on this week with a playlist update. They haven't really previewed anything for playlist updates for multiplayer or Warzone quite yet, but because obviously the Squid Game LTM's lasting I think until like the 24th or something, those playlists are going to be a constant for the next couple of weeks, so wouldn't expect any major changes there. Also conveniently, this patch note is located right next to one that has absolutely backfired with this change to directed mode, extending times between the rounds and delaying that time when zombies are spawning. This is just a complete flop and a complete miss by Treyarch. Charlie Intel ends up posting here saying Treyarch intentionally nerfed zombies directed mode with a new update. They extended times in rounds and delayed zombie spawn rates, which is resulting in players unable to grind camos in this mode. What is the point in this nerf? Actually, I think I know the point. I think they know that players were really capitalizing on directed mode to get their camos done a little bit more efficiently. And that means that if they do it more efficiently, they spend less time on the game, which means their retention numbers are not as good. This is nerfing fun for no particular reason, and I hope they change their mind on this. We'll probably know here in the near future if Treyarch does issue a response, but this is a massive L of a change for quite literally no reason. Now, if the game was in a functioning state and everything else was working as intended, there weren't severe issues with every mode, maybe this wouldn't be as loud of an issue. It'd still be a stupid update, but right now, when the game is hardly working, it's barely functioning, and you're nerfing one of the few fun aspects of it, what, just why? There's no point. Anyways, still looking into the near future here, the Trello board has seen a couple of updates here over the past few days, mainly the global one here. The Warzone one hasn't changed nearly as much, but a couple of things they are still looking into. Some new, some old. You'll notice some things are on here that have been on here almost since launch at this point. Player levels not accurately showing. It says everyone's a level 1. Some killer calling card challenges not tracking correctly. Medal notifications in hardcore still not showing up correctly. New one here though, free-for-all scoreboard is not accurately being calculated right now, so sometimes you can get a loss even if you place in the top 3, which is not supposed to count like that. They do have a fix scheduled for some missing VFX and visual effects in certain areas of Citadel Day More, so that'll be updated there. Still looking at some stuff with these swords as well, and of course they moved over a bunch of things into the fixed released area because of those January 3rd patch notes, although not necessarily all of these feel fixed in some cases with some of the global issues and whatnot. But that said, we'll be definitely keeping an eye out on this, and then also the Warzone Trello for any other updates or any other announcements from COD. Of course, if you want to stay in the know for everything going on a day-to-day basis, this is the best place to be. So feel free to hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications, and if you enjoyed this video, a like rating on your way out would be seriously appreciated. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.